Hi, I'd like to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for being interested in my weird redstone experiments. No, genuinely, I did not think that making a mechanical watch in Minecraft would excite so many people, but here we are. And today, we'll be working on the escapement. What's the escapement, Jazzy? I'm glad you asked. So last time we made the mainspring and also the beginning stages of the gears that will eventually lead to the hands on the watch face. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that video first to get caught up. Right now, in order to get the gears moving, I need to spam this lever right here to feed pulses into the last gear. But in an actual watch, we need this to happen automatically with precise and consistent timing. And that is exactly what the escapement does. This small collection of parts right here is responsible for letting tiny little bits of energy out of the mainspring with very precise timing. This is how the watch actually stays accurate to real time. So by the end of the video, we should essentially have a fully working watch. Well, minus the actual hands to tell the time. But first, there's a few adjustments I want to make to our current design. First off, remember how I had stairs at some point in my gears? I think that looks a lot better than this ring of observers, so I think I want to try to get that to work. Also, as I mentioned in the previous video, I don't like how the previous cog triggers a double movement on the next one. And also when we run out of sand, it actually allows the last cog to just keep running, which is not supposed to happen technically. So let's see what I can put together. Okay, so first off, that looks a whole lot better, except I think obviously we still want to have at least one observer in the chain. I had two before, but you know, why not have one? That makes a whole lot more sense, really. Basically, when its own observer reaches this line, it should actually disable itself, and then the previous one should turn one more time and then unlock it. I think a copper bulb could actually be used to do that. Okay, yeah, so basically, hold on. If we flick this lever once and then flick it again. Oh, okay. We do want to put an immovable block there. But yeah, that basically locks it, right? Okay, let's pretend that was always there. So, yep, it's locked. This will move once, but I think that's inconsequential because once it's unlocked, yeah, it'll just fix itself. So that's perfect. And then, oh, hold on a second. Yeah, actually, so since this one is gonna be the one that's locked, I'd say read it from here. That makes a lot more sense, right? Okay, so if we just, here we go, like that. So basically when this observer comes all the way back around, it will lock itself, and then this one will move once and then unlock it, right? Surely that's gonna work. All right, so here we go. Couple more moves. Boom. Yeah, gets unlocked pretty quickly, actually. All right, now everything's hooked up. So hopefully we can get a good representation of what's going on. Let's just stare at this until it requests some new sand. But even at this speed, will it unlock fast enough? Yes, actually. Perfect. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, this thing, because it's looking at the redstone down here. It activated twice and made this out of sync. Okay, hold on. So I can move this redstone, or I could do something different. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. Okay, so I've turned all the stairs around so that the backs are facing this way. And I'm thinking when this moves, the fence will disconnect very briefly, and that will be detected by this observer, and that'll send a pulse down this line. I know it looks kind of rough, but don't worry, we're gonna clean this up in a bit. But yeah, this fence is completely agnostic to whether or not it's attaching to an observer or a stair. So I think this actually should be perfectly fine. All right, let's start this back up. So it's coming back around. This is almost there. Okay, yep, no problem whatsoever. Perfect. I'm just gonna manually knock down a few bits of sand and speed up the game. Let's see if it survives this. All right, We've slowed down the game again. We are out of sand now, so it'll request the sand. We will have one free rotation on the last cog, which is totally fine, by the way. And it should... There we go. It's locked itself. This is in a locked state. Okay, there's actually another problem because, all right, we're out of power. That's great. But when I wind this up, I need to actually jumpstart it by pushing a piece of sand in there and then also restarting this cog. Now, obviously in a real watch, the motion actually begins with the mainspring, but I can't exactly do that here with this design. So I think I'm gonna have to have just a special button input or something to restart the watch when it dies. Maybe it's a bit of a band-aid solution, but let's just go for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and wind the watch. There it goes. I love it. And let's jumpstart the watch, shall we? Oh, maybe this delay wasn't long enough, actually. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. There we go. Okay, so it's out of power because I punched out this piece of redstone dust, but it's locked. I hit the button. Unlock, unlock, and it starts running again. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple of things now. So first, I'm gonna make both of these a good bit larger because I think they're a little piddly right now. And then we'll get ready to replace this right here with the escapement, which is what I was supposed to be doing today. But I think these edits were well worth making. All right, so here we go. We've got a bit of a gear train going on here. This one you can see is a little bit larger, and that's just because it's got 60 blocks in its ring here. That's not including these empty spaces, by the way. So if we pulse this once per second, and the mainspring is charged up fully to the maximum of 20 sand, I've calculated that it should last 161 hours and 20 minutes, which is a whole lot longer actually than the real life runtime of the average mechanical watch, which according to Google is between 36 to 48 hours. Now I was thinking I could remove one of these to make it a little bit more accurate, but that reduced the lifespan all the way down to 7 hours, so I didn't like that. So yeah, 160 hours it is. So we're finally gonna be getting to the escapement at long last. So the escapement is made up of 3 parts: the escape wheel, the pallet fork, and the balance wheel. The escape wheel and the pallet fork interact like this to only allow a small rotation each time the pallet fork oscillates. And for the timing, the balance wheel oscillates back and forth at a very specific frequency, which results in the watch actually being, well, accurate. In Chahanovsky's diagram, and also in real life, the escape wheel is not actually the wheel that the second hand is mounted to, but in Minecraft I decided to make them one and the same, just to simplify things. So how are we gonna emulate this? The pallet fork itself is actually pretty easy in Minecraft. We don't have anything moving back and forth, but each time the balance wheel interacts with it, it will, you know, move the escapement / the second hand forward by 1. Now for this, of course, we can just use a regular redstone clock like the one that I've been using, but yeah, that's not mechanical enough, is it? But I've got an idea. All right, what if we have something like this, right? And we have to get to the point where basically it's doing it once a second. Actually, already this isn't bad, is it? Hold on, let me get out my phone. Okay, so it's a little slower than a second. Actually, it's a lot slower than a second. This is where I wish I knew a lot more about Cartstone, actually. Okay, let's see. Does this work any better? Let's see. Oh, dang, these really stay on for a long time, don't they? Okay, even though this is slower than a second, it does get the point across. I think I'll actually leave it like this for this episode and see if anyone can come up with something better in the Discord. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Proof of concept here. All right, I'm gonna turn this off for now. And speaking of Discord, that's where my next idea comes from. So if you notice from the article, the balance wheel actually isn't a self-sustaining system. It actually gets nudged a little bit by the gear train. Meaning, of course, when the gear train stops, it'll actually lose momentum and then eventually stop itself. So it needs to have a small power bank that is continuously recharged by the movement of this cog here. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so I took this idea from Flying Dean in my Discord server, who actually used this mechanic in his mainspring design. So what ends up happening, you push this button, which will push the minecart up into the cobweb, and of course into this pressure plate. And if you push it up again, it'll refresh, just like that. And when it runs out, of course, it falls back down. So yeah, if we just hook that up to the balance wheel here, then essentially we have the balance wheel's hairspring, the balance wheel, and the pallet fork, and then the second hand / escape wheel. And then to recharge this, right, we'll need the fence, and then the server like that. So yeah, actually, let's give this a jump start. There we go. Oh, right. There we go. It's being consistently nudged upwards. And then let's pretend that it stops moving. So I'm gonna break this piece of redstone here. And it should, there we go. Stop right there. I think, there we go. That should ensure that it never gets stuck. There we go. Yeah, and it will always stop up there because this will give it enough of a push to get it up. Okay, perfect. All right, should we then simulate it running out of power? Let's see. Let's give it a jump start and wait for it to run out of power. There we go. Our balance wheel has stopped. All of these are locked up. Now, let's come back down here, wind it a few times. We'll give it 3 pieces of sand. Super satisfying. And let's see what happens when we start it again. God, I hope this works. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. And there we have it. I mean, we upgraded our gear train, we've made our escapement, and we made everything function all the way down to when we run out of power and start it back up. So honestly, I'm super happy with the outcome of this episode. In the next episode, we're going to be putting in the watch face, and I am super excited about that. There's already some really cool stuff happening over on my Discord server, so if you have any ideas for the watch face, or really anything else, make sure to head over there and join in on the fun. See you in the next one.